everybody. Welcome to round 3 of the Grand Prix Portland. We're going to start this round on Raphael Levy and Justice Gibson. Joining Hall of Famer Raphael Levy is Denniz Rachid, who has famously made back-to-back Pro Tours during, I believe, last season, was it?
Yeah, back-to-back Pro Tour top 8.
Swedish professional. And then he also is joined by his fellow Frenchman and current Player of the Year, Jeremy Dezani.
Yeah, not only Player of the Year, but also currently the #1 rated player in the top 25 pro rankings. So this team has 2 of the 25 top-ranked people in the entire world on it. Definitely one of the favorites coming into this weekend. Also, Raphael Levy has probably more team-limited experience than possibly anybody else in the world.
Yeah, I've heard that he is definitely someone to keep an eye on this weekend if we ever need any sort of advice. Between him and Jelger Wiegersma, we've definitely got a lot of experience from the European side coming over here. So this match right here between Levy and Gibson begins with a generator servant on Gibson's side, while Raph is sitting on a lonely Ornithopter.
Now, it may seem odd. You think to yourself, oh, Ornithopter, that's not really a playable card. Why is that in his deck? But I imagine Ensoul Artifact is something that we might be seeing very soon from Raphael Levy here. And that could turn that 0-2 Ornithopter into a 5-5 flying.
Yeah, Aeronaut Tinker is another reason to play that 0-2 flyer. Turns the 2-3 into a 2-3 ground pounder, from that into a 2-3 flyer. So now Levy has an attacker.
And did you see what just happened there?
Generator Servant into Scuttling Doom Engine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and suddenly less cuddle, more scuttle going on here in the feature match area. Now, I thought that we were going to see Justice waiting a turn and then using that Generator Servant to put a Hornet Queen into play, which is in his hand, conveniently. But Scuttling Doom Engine seems like a much better thing to give haste to.
It's good to know you've got options. Like, which one do I want to go with? My 6/6 drop or my insane 7 drop? Generator Servant's one of those cards I've seen do a lot of work in this limited format. Like, between like the large number of 6 drops that just have an incredible impact on the board, all of the souls, Scuttling Doom Engine. Like, it hits the table on turn 2, and then as soon as you can start powering these big guys out, you can just take games over.
See, it's funny you say that because I've actually been very underwhelmed with Generator Servant in this format. I think it's one of the not so great 2-drops from Red. I find that with all the bounce spells in the format and a lot of the removal spells that punish people for playing their best cards right away, it often puts you into a losing situation. That being said, sometimes you just run away with the game.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw Raph do exactly what you're talking about, using Appeal from Reality to return his free Ornithopter to his hand and get that Scuttling Doom Engine back to the hand. So, mention a play and it happens. Are you sure you can't see the future?
I'm not positive, but I don't think I can.
Well, another thing Raph's got going on his side is Military Intelligence, which works incredibly well with the free unblockable flyer that he's got in that Ornithopter, and since his Aeronaut Tinkerer has got another flyer on his side, he's got effectively a free card of return every time he attacks.
Yeah, now, you see, Raphael Levy is somebody who, like, earlier today we spoke about building real decks when you have 12 packs to work with. Raph's deck is a real deck. He's not just playing good limited cards. Look, he's using Military Intelligence to combo with his other cards. He has Ornithopters in his main deck so that he can draw extra cards in Military Intelligence and potentially turn them into 5/5s with Ensoul Artifact. He has a ton of different things going on here, and it's really a treat to get to watch a player who really understands the team limited format approach this with an open mind.
Yeah. Let's take a look. I've actually got a copy of Raph's deck list right here and see what he's got going on to make those Ornithopters do double duty. It looks like he's got a trio of Aeronaut Tinkerers in his deck, as well as a single copy of Ensoul Artifact. The Military Intelligence that he currently has in play.
Oh, and it looks like he has Crippling Blight here for this Venom Sliver, which is great because his opponent, Justice Gibson, does not have red mana untapped to use the activated ability of Inferno Fist, so he's going to get a nice, juicy 2-for-1 off that Crippling Blight. And his deck really does need to pick up 2-for-1s if he's just throwing away cards willy-nilly on things like Ornithopter.
So, as a quick question, how often do you find yourself playing that Inferno Fist in a situation where you can't sacrifice it should something go awry?
You don't want to do it, but if you only have 1 red mana available, then you don't really have much of a choice a lot of the time.
Okay. Well, Levy goes ahead and uses that Crippling Blight to make sure that it goes away. Now he has complete control over the board. His opponent has double his life total, but without anything to put in play, and the fact that Raph's drawing an extra card a turn, things are looking very good for him.
Yeah, I mean, the major issue here, though, is that Raph's at 8, and he knows that his opponent has a Scuttling Doom Engine in hand. So that's, like, he's essentially at 2, unless he wants to just chump block the Scuttling Doom Engine for the rest of eternity. And his opponent has a Hornet Queen in hand, too, which could easily deal those final 2 points of damage. His opponent, though, couldn't find that 6th land naturally and had to go searching for it with Shaman of Spring, so that does give Raph a little bit of extra time here to maybe find a counterspell or something else that can actually deal with what his opponent's about to do to him.
On a positive note, all that talk that we've been doing about Ornithopter, it does make for a pretty good roadblock for that Scuttling Doom Engine for a turn, should he find himself in a race that he can win. And with the Juggernaut on his side, that gives him a nice beefy attacker to take a big chunk out of his opponent's life total this turn.
Definitely.
All right, Raph is carefully thinking about what he wants to do this turn. Looks like he's planning for an attack with his Juggernaut and his Aeronaut. All right, Frostlink pushes any potential blocks out of the way. He gets in for a quick 7 points of damage, which drops Gibson down to 9. Not to mention he gets to draw himself a free card. That's, I think, 3 cards so far that Military Intelligence is drawn for him.
And there comes Illusory Angel now. Now, ooh, a land off the top there for Justice Gibson is brutal. Here comes Hornet Queen. Wow.
The army that Hornet Queen is able to make. I've seen very few cards turn games around quite like Hornet Queen does in this format. 4 Death Touch 1/1 flyers coming into play means that there's no safe attacks anymore. So Raph might have gotten him all the way down to 9, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to finish the job unless he changes the way things are right now.
Yeah, now we've seen a lot of Hornet Queens so far already. I mean, this is our 3rd feature match we're covering. I think this is the maybe the 5th time we've seen Hornet Queen enter the battlefield.
Yeah. Oh, if you take a look at Raph's side of the table, the things that he's got, knowing that there's a Doom Engine in Gibson's hand, like that Doom Engine is going to come down, and I mean, he's actually doesn't have a tremendously large number of creatures capable of blocking it, since Doom Engine does have that secondary ability that lets it get around the creatures with 2 power or less. So Raph's got a Juggernaut that he has to attack with this turn. That's probably not going to live if I had to guess. And then he's got the Illusory Angel that he has, and that's it.
And Frostlink's also going to get in because he can just trade it for a card with that Military Intelligence.
Yeah.
Would much rather trade that Frostlinks than trade an Illusory Angel or an Aeronaut Tinkerer here.
Yeah. Plus, it doesn't do him too much bad to make sure that he gets one of those Hornets off the table. Try to sneak through final points of damage to one of his flyers if he can somehow remove the other ones, right?
Definitely.
All right, Raph doing some serious thinking about which of his guys he wants to get through. He knows that there's a Doom Engine hiding in Gibson's hand that's going to hit the table soon. And he also knows that since his 2 power creatures can't block, might as well find some sort of use for them. All right. And
so here he's going to go ahead and he's attacking with the Aeronaut Tinkerer instead of attacking with the Frostlinks. And the Aeronaut Tinkerer is a 2/3 flying as opposed to a 2/1 ground creature, but he may have additional copies of Peel from Reality in his hand. So just the opportunity to draw those in the future means that the Frostlinks may be more valuable to him in the long term, especially when his opponent has access to things like Scuttling Doom Engine.
Good call. All right, looks like that's a Willforged Golem. 4/4 ground pounder with Convoke, putting that Ornithopter to use. That Ornithopter is doing some serious work for him this game.
Yeah, the Ornithopter has been a very reasonable card for Raph this game.
Another coverage compatriot, Marshall Sutcliffe, has been a little down on the concept of taking 2 cards that are not the greatest and putting them together to make a reasonable card. But Raph's got so many ways to use that Ornithopter, it's more like taking 1 card and creating a whole bunch of little 2-card combos with it.
Yesterday in the Team Sealed event that was happening in the evening when I showed up here, I saw somebody who had 2 Ornithopters in their deck, and they were essentially Moxen because the deck had 5 copies of Triplicate Spirits, double Willforged Golem, and a Feral Incarnation.
Awesome.
So, pretty nice.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think I see a Quickling hiding in Raph Levy's hand, which would be a pretty big blowout if he can somehow put together a turn where he can return that Frostlink, recast it, and push aside any remaining blocker that Gibson might have left behind.
This is a really difficult game for Raph here. I don't think he draws an extra card off Intelligence this turn.
He's certainly thinking about it.
But it's pretty hard to turn it down.
Is that a Jobari Lurker also?
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of changes things. I think now you can probably attack with the Illusory Angel and the Ornithopter.
Okay. So what does that change about his attack?
So now he's gaining 4 with the attack. And then he's still going to be able to leave open mana so that he can block with Frostlinks and Quickling when his opponent attacks with Scuttling Doom Engine.
Okay. Except for he can't block with the Frostlinks because of the secondary ability on Scuttling Doom Engine.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, right now it looks like the only creatures he has in play that are capable of blocking the Doom Engine are the Golem and the Angel. So one of those is going to have to be stuck behind. And
yeah, so he can't attack then.
All right,
that makes sense.
All right, so Raph opts to pass the turn. We take a look at Gibson's hand as he shuffles it like a maniac, making it very clearly easy to see what's in his hand. All right, so we have a Hunt the Weak.
Ooh, and that's pretty strong here.
So who do we think is the weak?
I believe the weak is a Murklurker.
All right. So do you think in that situation, should that happen? Well, first we've got an attack with the Scuttling Doom Engine. Apparently the sounds of it scuttling along terrify smaller creatures away. Yeah.
I think it's just so high off of the ground.
So what do you do here? You have the ability to double block should you want to. Do you go for the double block, try to get it off the table and put yourself to 2, knowing that you can also give one of your guys lifelink and save that Quickling, or just in case you absolutely need to? I mean, probably not with this combat, but or do you just block Quickling to fog the attack?
I think block Quickling is the most obvious play. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to...
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Looks like that that secondary clause has been pointed out.
Yeah, that's...
Wonder if Raph was thinking along those lines when he was drawing up his defensive plan.
Yeah, I think he was with me there.
Yeah. It's okay, I was there at one point too.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Twitch chats on it and reminds me that occasionally I can't read, so... Alright, so he does go for the double block. Goes ahead and opts to lifelink. Oh, he's going to lifelink twice, so he gains 8 life to counteract the triggered ability and also gain 2 life, ultimately
so he's
going
go
up to
up
10.
to 10 here. And it's unfortunate for Raph that his opponent now knows that he has that Quickling, because I believe his opponent does have has Hunt the Weak.
He does. Now he's going to be a this is his window now that he knows it exists.
And he's trying to decide whether or not he should be hunting this Murklurker here.
Well, if he hunts the Murklurker, I mean, as it is right now, he's got what for an offense? He's got a couple of Hornets and my liege, the Queen, as flyers that can attack. That Shaman of Spring just kind of hanging out, staring at the much better defensive creatures Levy's got. So if he makes this hunt, looks all right. Well, here's 5 mana. What does that make? That makes a restock.
Ooh, okay.
I'm a little surprised that he didn't choose to try to hunt away his Hornet Queen, try to get maximum value out of that. Although I guess with him at 9 and Raph having the ability to increase his life total with his life linking soon, do you think that would just put him at too long-term a game plan?
Yeah, and I mean, the hunt with the Hornet Queen actually seems pretty strong to me too, because it just... He gets a 3/3 Hornet Queen out of it. He doesn't even have to sacrifice his Hornet Queen. And the next turn, he can block aggressively with it.
Okay.
But, I mean, There's definitely something to be said for restocking there when there's not pressure really being put on you, not lethal pressure.
Yeah.
And getting back 2 powerful cards like that, it also gives you exactly the amount of mana you need to put the Inferno Fist on a not-so-relevant body.
Perfect. All right, so Raph is considering his attacks at this point. And looks like we are going to be sending a Willforged Golem and a Frost Lynx across the table, drawing himself a card. The obligatory Hornet blocks. Insect blocks, pardon me.
Yes.
'Cause
So many bees.
Hornet Queen is apparently a queen of many subjects. Not only hornets, but all insects. All right.
So Willforged Golem, you know, he didn't have much of a showing here.
No,
but
that Quickling that he knows he's got, this is Gibson forcing that Quickling out before he goes ahead and hunts on the weak, right?
yeah, well, I'm not sure if Quickling is even going to be used here. I think Raph is just going to use the Quickling on his own turn, like to stop Inferno Fist, or on his opponent's turn to stop Inferno Fist,
Okay.
or oh, okay, he is going to use it.
All right. So,
I'm actually
Golem.
somewhat surprised by that, but
Okay, well, the Frost Lynx goes back to Raph's hand, and he replaces it with the Child of Night. So Gibson loses one of his insects there, has the insect, the Hornet Queen, and a Inferno Fisted Up Shaman of Spring. He's got the Scuttling Doom Engine in his hand, the Hunt the Weak that we know he's got as well, and then a third card, which I have yet to get a pretty good look at. So, all right. Doom Engine comes back down, and Raph officially has 0 creatures capable of blocking it. But he's been able to pad his life total just a little bit with that Merc Lurker.
yeah, I mean, he's gained a lot of life with this Merc Lurker so far this game. It's just really proving itself to be one of the better uncommons in this set.
Especially in a format like this when you can very clearly build yourself like a nice solid defensive deck to go along with it. I mean, what does it become? It's a 2/4 for 3 if you have a Swamp in play.
Yeah, which is a great body.
Yeah. All right, so the Frostlink come down, taps the Scuttling Doom Engine, buys him a couple more turns. And one benefit about his opponent's relatively fragile creatures is Child of Night is just pure upside at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I mean, traded itself for that Inferno for 1/2 of a restock, effectively.
Yeah, Military Intelligence has drawn Raph like 6 cards this game, maybe more. It's
doing work.
This is the most intelligence I've ever seen, you know, the military display in a game of Magic.
All right, looks like Raph has a stab wound. All right, who we stabbing?
I think he might stab the Scuttling Doom Engine.
Yeah, there we go.
I like that play a lot.
Everyone knows that there's nothing more dangerous than a Scuttling Doom Engine that's slowly leaking oil. Whoa there, buddy. Whoa there, buddy. No one tapping that guy. All right, so stab wound. It's going to tick Gibson down to 5, which he's going to be able to undo with the market or the what is it, the
Verdant Haven? Yeah. Which is surprisingly relevant this game.
It is. I do love that Raph still has an Ornithopter on his side. Like, just like he's hanging on to this. He's going to cash that in for some pure value here a little bit later on. No point in sending it into hornets and insects and other death touch things. All right. Well, this looks terribly bad for Raph early on in the game, but he's gained enough life and put himself in a reasonable position. I mean, he's got a clock down now. This is looking like a game that he might be able to come back from. That Hunt the Weak takes out the Merc Lurker though. So.
Oh wow! Well.
Oh my.
Primadox.
That's a bit of a combo with Hornet Queen.
Yeah, and Verdant Haven will allow him to undo the stab wound there, and you know, he can undo the stab wound with the Primadox itself, too.
Jeez.
So Raph out of gas, finally.
Man, that Roaring Primadon's so good. This is
That
why
Roaring Promedox really is just like the best thing that could have possibly happened for Justice there.
Oh man, that Hornet Queen. I mean, this game is a textbook example of why Hornet Queen is so insane. Like, he puts it down and just completely forces Raph. Like, he forces Raph to start making attacks that he really doesn't want to have to make, just to draw himself extra cards, try to get himself out of the situation and whittle away the board. All right, looks like Raph's considering cashing that Ornithopter in now.
Yeah, just cashing that in for an extra card. I mean, he'd be trading his Quickling and Ornithopter for one card. And also, you know, that's a lot of turns.
Yeah.
That I guess it's not really a lot of turns because neither of them can block the Doom Engine anyway.
Yeah. I mean, what's he drawing to? He's got a pair of Covenants of Blood that can get rid of that Primodox. He's also got...
Ooh, well, the Covenants of Blood can actually just kill his opponent.
Oh,
so that's what he's fishing for right now,
Okay.
because the Stab Wound trigger will happen at the same time as the Primodox trigger, but it'll still resolve when he doesn't find it there.
If it was worth the dig, right?
Yeah, now the issue, though, here is that the Covenant of Blood will no longer be good enough to kill his opponent, I think, on the following turn,
Yeah.
because... Oh, no, it might be, because his opponent won't have the Verdant Haven. And he has 2 copies of Covenant of Blood?
2 copies, yes.
Oh, so the Ornithopter is actually quite good in his deck.
Oh, I just got a note that Yuya Watanabe, Tomoharu Saito, and Kenji Tsumura were just felled by their opponents.
Oh, no. They've been defeated?
The sadness, yes. It enters my heart deeply.
Well, the good news is that their opponents are probably on cloud 9 right now.
Yeah. All right, so he's got... Looks like Raph has 1 turn to draw that Covenant of Blood. Think he's going to get too many more than that single turn?
I think he might get 2 turns.
He might get 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, because next turn... If Gibson considers Covenant of Blood and decides to return... does he have the Verdant Haven in play?
He has the Verdant Haven in hand.
It's in hand? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so this turn he can Verdant Haven plus Scuttling Doom Engine.
Yeah, so he's going to need... He's out of burn range, effectively, if he does that, or
Yeah.
Covenant range. All right. Well, let's see what combination of things he decides to do. So... Is that a Living Totem?
It is a Living Totem.
Okay, so he decides to go for Living Totem and then push himself up to 5 life with that Haven. Alright, and that's just a welcome turn if I read that correctly, so... That looks like... Raph's days are numbered here.
Yeah. Not too long for this world at this point.
Yeah, especially with that Hornet Queen going back to his hand.
And the Hornet Queen going back to his hand kind of gives Raph, you know, 1 more turn to draw back-to-back Covenant of Bloods.
Does it? He takes 1, 2, 6. Yeah, okay. All right, and Justice Gibson has defeated Hall of Famer Raphael Levy in the first game of their match. It looks like all of the side of Levy, Rachid, and Dezani are currently down a game. Although it looks like Dezani might have just evened things up. So, all right. Well, backs are a little against the wall for Levy, Rachid, and Dezani. Got 2 evened up matches. Perfect. All right.
So
what we learned that Raph and his Ornithopters play really, really, really slowly when they've got to face down multiple Hornet Queens.
Yeah, the Hornet Queen makes stuff last pretty long.
I see that their opponents came with matching shirts, and they all are wearing hats.
Yeah, they're a team hats.
Delicious hats.
And they also have matching shirts, you're right. One of them has a black shirt with white lettering, the others with the white shirts with black lettering.
Clearly the captain.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess that means he's the captain. Although you'd expect the captain to sit in the middle seat, right? But then again, maybe it was just bad coordination on their parts. Like they were like, come on, man, that was for day 2.
Yeah.
And he was like, but I sent out a memo.
I mean, if you don't color coordinate your shirts so that you've got day 1 shirts and day 2 shirts, bad things can happen, like this.
Yeah, like you can get paired against the current best player in the world and a Hall of Famer.
This has got to be interesting. Like I've played at a few team GPs before. I've never had the fortune of getting to sit down across the table from like well-known named opponents. I can't imagine what that's like. I mean, getting to play against 3 of the best players in the whole world. When you and me and a couple buddies of mine.
It's pretty fun.
I'll be the first to admit, me and my friends, like we are not terrible at Magic, but we are by no stretch of the imagination playing the same game as Dezani and Levy are.
Pretty impressive that Levy is still a top 25 pro.
Oh yeah.
I mean, has he missed a single Pro Tour since the beginning of the Pro Tour?
Raph has something like 2 times more matches played at the Pro Tour than his nearest competitor in that regard. It's some absurd statistic. Like I don't know if he's missed a Pro Tour since he started playing, and which is a feat in and of itself, because we've seen people come, people go, fall off, have to requalify.
Yeah.
And Raph's just been there and been good the entire single time. I mean, he was good enough to put himself there. He's good enough to captain the French team. Almost.
Weren't they world champions?
They were world champions
last year.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
that rip of the Reckless's return.
Yeah, that was a pretty important one.
Pretty solid. But yeah, and his teammates are great. Like Jeremy Dezani, he had a record-setting year this year. Like all of the points that he was able to get. Looks like we are zoomed in on Denniz, Rachid, and Andrew Day.
Oh, wow. So Andrew Day coming out swinging.
Oh, man, all of the X1s. I love it. So we got an Oresa Switclaw on Rashid's side and a pair of Welkin turns. 2 turns.
Two turns. 3-1 there, Resco Swiftclaw. 1 toughness thing's pretty susceptible to a lot of hate in this format, but you know, if both players have the 1 toughness deck, it's all a matter of who can draw things like Fester Gloom, Forge Devil,
Crippling Blights. Yeah,
Crippling Blight.
Both of these decks have cards, at least are playing colors of cards that are fairly good at dealing with a surge of 1/1s. See if I can't find.
Right, so the more aggressive blue-black deck here from Andrew Day, we saw on Raph's side of the table, he has some interesting stuff going on, but it seems like Andrew Day is straight up strong blue and black cards.
All right, and we see a Pegasus from Rachid and a Hammerhand. Rashid's deck has a reasonable number of red enchantments to go along with some cards like Broodkeeper. The Pegasus is another really good card to hold those enchantments. Looks like Day's not going to give him a chance to get online. And
yeah, Day now down to 14 already, though.
Yeah, Ulcerate's a great card, but it does come at a fairly steep cost.
Wow, and it seems that Day has some pretty strong rare in hand. Aether Spouts, one of the best cards in the set. So 14 all here, and Andrew Day quickly pulling ahead on the board.
And that Frostlynx is going to keep the Swiftclaw tapped down for an extra turn. So a 2/3 on the ground is going to be able to slow down that Frostlynx, but he's still got nothing to deal with the consistent 4 points of damage he's taking in the air.
And make that 7, because I think Necrogen Scudder's about to come down.
All right. So Necrogen Scudder is going to be another card that takes a 3-point chunk out of his own life total, but I mean that's 7 points of damage, right? That's a 2-turn clock. Assume things go well.
And this game is going lightning fast. Just flyers filling up the board. Rashid's life total just dwindling to nothing. His opponent's life total is dwindling to nothing too, but in the meantime, his board is also getting very dangerous.
Yeah.
And he can't really attack into it efficiently because Frostlynx matches up so well against the Swiftclaw, and Scudder matches up so well against the Midnight Guard.
It's pretty awkward to have reciprocal attacks and defenses like that. Nothing pretty. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, send that Swiftclaw in and trade off for the Lynx, but
yeah,
you're facing down 7 points in the air. Things going to be very bad for you very soon. Rachid has got a couple of cards in his deck that are able to kind of pull him out of this spot. He does have a pair of Inferno Fists and a Lightning Strike.
Lightning Strike would be really great here because of the Scudder. That's the most important thing right now. But
yeah, the majority of his deck looks like it's white. He's got a lot of token generating cards, pair of Raise the Alarms, a Triplicate Spirits, and a couple of Sanctified Charges to make those seemingly insignificant 1/1s into a ridiculously large force. So looks like he goes ahead and trades off that Swiftclaw for the Lynx. Cat on cat action. And a Broodkeeper hits play. So if you're Day here, you just pay no heed to the creatures on the table and send your flyers in to put him at 3, right?
Definitely. I mean...
All right, well, he opts to just send the turn in, leave his Scudder back to play defense.
And, I mean, Rachid has to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
That means if he has an enchantment in hand, he's not dead the following turn.
Yeah. Jobari Murklurk that we saw do pretty good work for Raph for the majority of that first game comes down on the side of Day. So now he's got an exceptional ground defender to go along with his attackers. If he was going to play that, why do you think he didn't attack with that Scudder? Just
I'm not sure why he didn't attack with the Scudder. I certainly would have.
Okay. Well, looks like we're going to have a dragon hit the table for Rachid and allow him to stay alive for one more turn, if not longer.
Yeah, Broodkeeper, just such a strong card.
All right. So, if only you got that many.
If only. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I imagine he has. How many Broodkeepers does he have?
Just
Is this
one.
his deck?
Yeah, just a singleton. So he does have a Burning Anger also. So he has the potential to turn this around really quickly.
And he has a Heliod's Pilgrim also.
So he's got enough mana left over to pop the Inferno Fist and pump his dragon large enough to kill the Scudder should it attack in. So the likely attack comes in. What do you do here? Do you block one off the other one?
I think I first Inferno Fist to see what's going to happen.
Okay.
The
Day goes ahead and gives it lifelink. And Inferno Fist finishes off the second turn. So both turns die at the expense of the dragon. Effectively a 2-for-1 for Rachid there.
Yeah. A great 2-for-1 even.
Yeah. All right. So Rachid has managed to get himself to, I mean, he's still facing down a 3/3 flyer on the opposing side of the table, which he can't defend against right now. But with the Broodkeeper in play, he's always got the possibility of drawing one of his many enchantments to get himself another defense. And sure enough, there it is, another Inferno Fist. Gives him another dragon capable of taking that Scudder out. And just like that, the script's kind of been flipped on Day here.
Definitely. I mean, if he had attacked with that Scudder on that key turn there, things might be different here, but he has just given Rachid quite a bit of breathing room there, and Broodkeeper is now going to work here. And you really don't want to let a Broodkeeper start activating.
Yep. All right, and looks like we see a
I believe that's a Void Snare.
A Void Snare, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and Dennis Rachid here, a little bit upset with himself probably that he didn't leave open double red.
Yeah.
But either way, it's the Inferno Fist is just it can't trade with any of Day's creatures here.
So in this situation, you
so
just
it's not
kinda
the
let
end
it
of
go
the
to
world.
graveyard.
Yeah.
It was more of a 2-mana 2/2 fire breathing flyer than anything else.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
in
you
this situation,
need
it's what
it to
he
survive
needs.
through the Scudder.
Yeah.
I think he just blocks with Midnight Guard.
Yep.
I'd be very surprised if he did not.
This looks like a play to gain life more than anything else. Keep padding that life total. He's got no reason not to. If these Midnight Guard can be held off by a research assistant in probably the most improbable combat I could imagine in the real world.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, and a Raise the Alarm brings a couple of extra creatures into play, and that's going to now we understand why he left that wide open instead of leading double red.
Yeah, and you know, if you had really added everything up and been the detective that you need to be when you're playing a match like this, you might have been able to figure that out.
That's
but
precisely what I was going to ask, especially considering that the previous turn he'd left 2 red open in the exact same situation. All right. Well, Rachid draws for his turn.
And this is a great game.
Yeah. Rachid's down a little low, but he's seems to have turned the corner, at least temporarily. Like, it's going to be one of those situations where if Day can get anything out of the way. Oh, and that lightning strike that we talked about him having pushes that scudder out of the way. So now Rachid's got a clear airspace for his dragon to attack through. Ooh, and a Kinsbale Skirmisher allows his Midnight Guards to get through for an extra 3 points of damage as well.
Now he's
so
hitting for 6 here, so
drops
putting Day down to 9 already. And
looks like Day's holding a massive, is it a Soul of Innistrad I see in his hand?
oh,
I don't know if it's going to be able to do anything, though. I mean, he doesn't have a way to get rid of the flyer in time.
and he does need that 6th land if he's going to want to do that. Both these players have been kind of choked on mana this game. Both of them did have very aggressive draws, though. It seems like their decks don't mind being that choked on mana. And Denniz Rachid there playing pretty well, playing around Aether Spouts by leaving back the dragon.
Well, assuming this goes ahead and resolves, what are you putting on top or bottom? They just put the Skirmisher on top?
I don't know. It really depends on what's in his hand. Okay, so we put the Skirmisher on top, we put the other on bottom.
All right.
Seems reasonable enough.
Be a Broodkeeper again.
Looks like it.
And board is rebuilt. All right, well, there's a 6th land for the Soul of Zendikar in his hand, or Soul of Innistrad. I want to call all of the souls Soul of Zendikar. I've been so like traumatized by Soul of Theros that I just want to forget that it's a Magic card. And same with Soul of Chandalar.
So it looks like Rachid may just have to go all in on his dragon here.
Okay.
Attack, pump it with as much mana as I can, go, and then hope his opponent doesn't find a way to deal with the dragon.
Well, that would knock him down to 3.
Yeah, and then it's only one more turn, and then I mean, he could even draw. Does he have a second copy of Lightning Strike in his deck?
He doesn't. He's only got 1.
Maybe a Kona Flame?
Day is drawing to the point, if he can draw a land this turn, he has the ability to get back Welkin turns and play a Welkin turn that's going to be able to block that dragon. Ooh, is that a Frostlinks?
It is Frostlinks.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, he just needs to have a plan. Like, Rachid has to come up with some way to win this.
Yeah.
And I think that
Frostlinks is a very good draw for him.
Yes,
Day gets to tap down that dragon and keep it out of the picture for a turn to give him another chance to set up a defense against that flyer. Meanwhile, he's got himself a 6/6 gigantic Death Touch creature that's going to be pounding down the doors on Rashid's side.
Yeah,
Let's see. Rachid
Not
has got. He
sure.
has another Raise the Alarm, which will give him an opportunity to get a couple of blocks in. He does have a Triplicate Spirits. Triplicate Spirits would be a very good draw for him.
Well, he doesn't have double white to cast it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and doesn't even have another white creature in play now.
Oh, maybe that's why he Skirmisher on top. But no, then he wouldn't have blocked with it.
Well, he does have a Pillar of Light in his deck that could be capable of taking care of that Soul of Innistrad. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that before the damage is done.
So he needs his opponent to not draw a land, a removal spell, or a flyer on the following turn.
Yeah. All right. Well, looks like the Broodkeeper is going to eat the Research Assistant.
And
What
is this?
Ooh, and it looks like the match is effectively over because it looks like Justice Gibson's managed to take the second game from Levy, and Dezani has fallen. So Pillars on the outside to lose, and Rachid is left playing a match that I'm sure he probably wishes was for something here.
Yes.
Well, might as well see how this ends up playing out. It's been a fairly interesting game thus far. It feels so kind of bad to leave it.
Yeah, I'd like to see how this actually ends here. And the dragon is able to swing in for the final 3 points of damage here, giving Denniz Rachid a victory in his match, but unfortunately that's not good enough because Raphael Levy
victory
has been felled by Hornet Queen,